to my YouTube channel. I'm Tutor Agric by name. I would like to intimate you guys with the likely questions from Agric Practical. Now, from the Agric Practical, these are the specimen recommended by WAEC for 2022 Agric Practical. Specimen A, feeding trough. Now, under specimen A, these are some of the likely questions WAEC can ask. Number one, they can ask you to describe specimen A. How does specimen A look like? Description of specimen A. The first question will be this: identify specimen A. After the identification of specimen A, the next question will be give a brief description about specimen A. How does specimen A look like? The third question that can actually come out from specimen A will be the maintenance. What are the methods used for the maintenance of specimen A? What are the advantages of specimen A? Why can decide to put the question in that way? What are the advantages or what are the function or uses of specimen A? Now, I will not be talking deep on this particular aspect. The next video, I'll be explaining, I'll be talking more about specimen A. I'll be talking more about all the specimen, the advantages and the likely questions and the correct answer. But for this video, I'll only be talking about the specimen in general, and I'll also be talking about the likely question. The second video will be showing the likely question, the answers to the likely questions to be expected tomorrow. Now, let me quickly talk about specimen B because of our time. Specimen B is body zone. Now, under specimen B, there are some certain things we need to note. Number one, they will ask you to identify specimen B. After the identification of specimen B, they will ask you for the uses of specimen B. What specimen B used for? Those are the likely questions that can be asked under specimen B. Now, the likely question that can actually come out from specimen B again will be the maintenance. How can we maintain specimen B? Now, the next one I'll be talking about is specimen C, which is the neck or collar tag. Neck or collar tag. Now, under this specimen B, specimen C, the likely question that can actually come out from specimen C will be the uses of specimen C. What is specimen C used for? No, that's the likely question. Another likely question that can actually come out from specimen B: what are the uses of neck or collar tag? Now, we'll quickly be talking about specimen D. What is specimen D? Specimen D is spanner. They will ask us what are the uses of spanner. They can also ask, give a brief description of spanner. They can also ask, simply draw a diagram showing spanner. Those are the likely questions that can actually come out from specimen D. And they can also ask, what other instrument can we use, or what other equipment can we use instead of spanner in the farm? They can also ask for alternative of specimen D. Which other instrument can serve as for alternative to specimen D? And apart from that, again, they can also ask us for the uses, the maintenance, the function of specimen D. Note all this information when studying the specimen. Now, specimen E. Specimen E is kerosene lamp. Now, under specimen E, some of the likely questions they can ask you to give a brief description of kerosene lamp. How does kerosene lamp look like? They can ask you to give a brief description. And apart from that, they can also ask you to talk about the maintenance. What are the maintenance of specimen E? They can also ask about alternative instrument or alternative equipment you can use instead of kerosene lamp. They can also ask about the maintenance. How can you maintain kerosene lamp? Those are the likely questions that can come out from specimen E. Without wasting much of our time, I'll quickly go to specimen F. Specimen F is talking about inorganic fertilizer. They can ask us for the application. How can we apply specimen F? What are the application of specimen F? They can also ask us what are the major constituents specimen F is made up of. They can ask us for the application, the importance of specimen F. They can also ask us for the deficiency. If specimen F is not properly applied to the soil, what can be the effect? Now, specimen G is on compost. We'll be talking about In the next video, I'll be talking about the preparation of compost. That can help prepare our compost. I'll be talking about the uses of compost. I'll be talking about the applications. Those are the likely questions that can be coming out from specimen G. Now, for specimen H, we are talking about farmyard manure. Farmyard manure. Now, under this farmyard manure, we'll be talking about the application, method of preparation, the uses, and the functions. Now, quickly talk about specimen I, which is the groundnut seed. Now, when we are talking about the groundnut seed, the likely questions that will be coming out from groundnut seed is the botanical name. What is the scientific name for groundnut? What type of crop is groundnut? What are the uses of groundnut? What are the common pests and diseases affecting groundnut? What are the mode of storage of groundnut? Those are the likely questions that can actually come out from what? Specimen I. Specimen J, we'll be talking about cotton lint. Now, under specimen J, we'll be talking about the common disease of cotton. Those are the likely questions. The method of propagation of cotton, disease affecting cotton, method of propagation of cotton, the duration, what type of crop is cotton,